All right, so it's a beautiful night tonight. So we have members of the community. We have MCTC, Minneapolis Community and Technical College, who hosts us tonight. I want to thank you, MCTC, and all the distinguished guests tonight. I also want to thank the community, and I want to thank the committee who invited, worked so hard to invite President Abdiwali. It's an honor for me to be standing. It's an honor for me to be standing before you. And I wanted to, as you can see, our time is very short. But you know, all we did for this is for us to see and celebrate with our President Abdiwali. I wanted to also thank Commissioner, Hennepin County Commissioner Peter McLovin. Thank you so much for coming. I wanted to thank Avelino, President of MCTC, who allow us to be here this beautiful night. And I wanted to thank our women supporters, because without our women, we won't be here. As you can see, I'm a woman standing before you. And the leadership of Somali women, I would say, it's undeniable. So since we have short time, I wanted to start with the Somali anthem. Abdaki natagdarane tagera waligine Somalia tosa iskutir salaye Abdaki natagdarane tagera waligine. We're honored to have President Abdiwali at MCTC, and it's really important to understand the relationship between the two countries, the relationship between our educational system, and the relationship between Somali diaspora, and the relationship between Somali diaspora and the Somali back home. It's really important to know that I am multinational. I am full Somali and I'm full American. And to have someone like Abdiwali, who's both Somali and American, to be the president of Puntland state, that's where I'm from, and I'm proud to be there. I wanted to welcome Avelino, who is the MCTC president, to welcome our Puntland president. Thank you so much.
It's really a pleasure, President Abdiwali, to have you on our campus. We are working very diligently to build relationships with the Somali community in Minneapolis. And in fact, we've just our foundation is piloting scholarships that were for 24-year-olds or older who are unemployed or underemployed. And we're having 20 of those scholarships, a part of our pilot, to be focused on the Somali community in Cedar Riverside area of Minneapolis. And our campus actually is like the face of Minneapolis. 56% of our students are students of color, and a full 30% are either African or African American students. So the face of our campus is really the face of Minneapolis. And many of us on our campus have the very same story that refugees from Somalia have, including myself. I'm a refugee from Cuba that came here at the age of 10. And so our community is around providing educational opportunity for those individuals that are new to the country, who are trying to pull themselves up, and we know that education is the key to all of that. And I know you as an educator also value that. So please, we welcome you, and we're so pleased to have you here. This is a real honor for us.
Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be with you today at MCTC. As you really mentioned, my heart is with academia and education. I am a former professor, as you all know. I taught American universities such as George Mason and Niagara University, which I taught for 10 years. But I started with a community college, Northern Virginia Community College, where I taught from 19 1992 to 1998. I would like to thank Saeed for organizing the event, and I thank you for hosting us and also for coming to chat with you and to say something about Somalia and in particular Puntland. But I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the people of Minnesota for giving safety and succor to thousands and tens of thousands of Somalis who left their country out of their volition, involuntarily but not voluntarily, because of the civil strife that took place in 1991 and since then ongoing, although less so today than it was 20-something years ago. On the other hand, Somalia is succeeding in so many different ways. The Somali people are very feisty, very resilient, and very strong. Lacking good governance institutions for 20-something years, but it's still ongoing, it's still hopeful, it's still pushing, and looking one day to reach the top of the proverbial mountain. If I say a little bit about, I say that because I was a former Prime Minister of Somalia, and I know the Somali people and how they think. It so happens that when governance institutions collapse, just give an example. Some of you were here in 1990, the Rodney King event. Where was that? In the early 1990s. What happened in East LA when the rule of law broke down for a few moments? It's not unique to Somalia. It happens at the center of Europe, in Bosnia, in so many other parts of the world. It also happened in this country in 1860s. You had your own civil war. But sometimes you fell down, but you stand up again and you move on. And that's what the people of Somalia are doing. In Puntland, in particular, if I say a few words about, Puntland is 1/3 of the Somali territory, and almost 1/3 of the Somali population live there. It's the northeasternmost part of Somalia. It's a beautiful area. It's very peaceful and stable, relative to the southern part of the country, and we are doing very well. The country is rich in terms of resources. We have the longest coast. Somalia has the longest coast in Africa, and Puntland has the longest coast in Somalia, strategically located, both bordering the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. We have other natural resources. We have a lot of livestock. We pay camels for dowry. Our girls are very expensive. You have to have 100 camels to marry. We have a lot of other resources, agriculture, minerals, and we have beautiful beaches. And it's beautiful. So I want you to come to visit in your spare time, bring your family and kids, and enjoy. Going to Somalia and enjoying the weather, the nice weather, is something that I will advise you to do. Puntland is also for the unity of Somalia, although it's a federal entity and federal member of the Somali federal government, but also it is for united federal and democratic Somalia. That's what Puntland is all about. I became president in January 2014, and since then we started huge reforms in the area of governance, because I believe, as an academic, I found out that governance and development, I'm an economist by training, specializing in economic growth and development, and I know that governance is all about good institutions. Good institutions beget good governance. and good governance is the hallmark of progress and development. So we started justice reform programs where we want to dispense good justice for the people of Puntland, both individual justice and also for regional justice. We also undertook a huge reform in our security sector, where we want to have a good police, good judicial corps, and good judicial efficiency, so that the rule of law should be supreme in Puntland. We also undertook reforms in the public financial management area, where we want to be the government of Puntland to be accountable, transparent, credible, and legitimate. We also undertook a civil service reform, where we want to have a small but efficient government. I'm a libertarian, and I believe minimum government. I'm a minimalist. Why? Because as you say in America, a government big enough to give you everything you need is a government big enough to take everything you have. So we want to have good governance institutions in Puntland. We are also trying to democratize our system, where our objective is to have one person, one vote, universal suffrage in Puntland in January 2019. As I said to, and I promised to my people in Puntland, the hallmark of my government will be to provide that opportunity to every citizen of Puntland. Now, our diaspora here can contribute also a lot. You can bring your exposure to democracy to Puntland and change the system. I want you to bring your human capital. Human capital makes all the difference. That's why resource-poor countries like Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong, South Korea are developing very fast, while resource-rich countries like Africa is the richest continent in the world in terms of natural resources. But at the same time, most of the countries in Africa are a basket case. Why? Because they lack the human capital, the skilled labor force needed to tap these resources so that the poor people of Africa can take benefit of the resources that they have. So we are poor people walking on a gold mine. So what do we need? We need human capital. We need the financial resources of our diaspora to come back and bring that to Puntland in particular, and also in general to Somalia. We also want to have that connection. I'm sure the first generation will always think about the country, but the second generation will be just Americans like another American. But at the same time, I want the Somali boy and girl here growing up in Minnesota, not just to be, just to be, and this, what will be the designation of that person? A minority, an African American, Muslim. I want them to be a proud Somali American. I want them to be a proud Somali American who have a good roots and also know their rich culture, history, and religion. Therefore, we want you to bring all those resources back to the country so that that this connection, okay? Of course, this is the country that provides you safety and secure. This country gave you a lot of opportunities. And America, really, I'm not just saying this because you're Americans here, but this is a good country. This is a land of the opportunity, that's true. But I don't want them to forget where they came from. Yeah? At the same time, I want you, Somalis here, to be good ambassadors of Somalia. Be someone here. Respect the rule of law of this country. Okay? Don't bring the bad stuff we had back home to America. Take the good things of America back to Somalia. I thank you again for receiving me and having me here at MCTS. And hopefully, next time we have more time to discuss and debate and have a good time together, inshallah. Thank you.
Mr. President, we want to welcome you. We're thrilled that you could be here. You have come to your speech was very inspiring. When you talk about human capital, you've come to a place that invests in human capital here in Minneapolis, here in Hennepin County. And the president here at MCTC has been a model leader. He has been reaching out with us to the Somali community to try to create educational opportunities and pathways to jobs. We're committed to that here, and we're thrilled that you could be here tonight to do that. We also have our partnership. The city of Minneapolis has a sister city relationship with Bosaso, and that's a terrific relationship, and you've inspired us here. And finally, as a politician, I will say, you've got a lot of supporters here, right here in this community for you. And so, we are thrilled that you could be here. We will continue to work with this community, and you have described the American dream and how it works, where you have the diaspora, but they're committed Americans, but they have their feet still back in Somalia, and that's what the American dream has been about. And so we thank you for your words tonight. We thank you for your presence, and we want to be as helpful as we can for you and also for the members of the Somali community. Thank you very much.